'Tis the season to be jolly. On this week's episode, we rented the Christmas classic, Gremlins. I'm Kevin Porter, and welcome to Video Rental Chaos. Has your fridge ever stopped working and you thought, hey, that may just be a common breakdown, but it turns out that it's some evil little gremlin monster? Me neither. But if you've watched the 1984 smash hit Gremlins, then you already know what I'm talking about. You better listen to Mr. Wing and not introduce your little gremlin to some water or bright lights. And you better not feed it after midnight. With those ground rules laid out, let's jump right into Gremlins. Randall Peltzer is on the hunt for a Christmas present for his son Billy. He ends up being led to an old Chinatown antique store. We are introduced to Mr. Wing, who refuses to sell the Mogwai to Mr. Peltzer, citing that he would not know how to care for it. Desperate for the money though, the grandson goes behind his back and sells the creature anyway for $200. After giving him the 3 rules, Randall is on his way home with Billy's Christmas present. We are then introduced to Billy, who is an adult still living with his parents. He has a decent job working for the bank, despite having a bit of a feud with Mrs. Deagle, who continues to threaten to kill his dog Barney. When Billy comes home, his dad introduces him to the Mogwai. Billy names the little dude Gizmo. So Gizmo is fitting in very nicely into their home. The next day though, Billy's friend Pete comes over and meets Gizmo for the very first time. He accidentally spills water on Gizmo. Well, that was a big no-no, remember? And we find out why, as 5 more Mogwais are born from the back of Gizmo. At first they seem to be just as cute and cuddly as Gizmo, but we find out real quick that this is not the case. Billy makes another huge mistake and feeds the 5 after midnight, thus letting them form into these mysterious cocoons. Billy and Pete take one of the cocoons to the elementary school science teacher, Mr. Hansen, as he holds onto the cocoon to perform some experiments. Soon, the cocoons hatch. What emerges gave me nightmares for days, as gremlins led by Stripe soon take over the Peltzer home, forcing Billy's mother to fight them head on. We find out that Mr. Hansen was killed by one as well, because Billy soon is sprinting home trying to get there in time to save his mother. They kill off all the gremlins except for Stripe, who escapes. And this is where things take a turn for the worse, as Stripe jumps right into the pool, thus spawning hundreds of gremlins. We soon see that not even the cops can stop the anarchy that is about to break out in the small town of Kingston Falls. People are being injured and killed by those little gremlins, including the cat lady, Mrs. Deagle. Billy finds his girlfriend Kate being held hostage by the gremlins as she is serving drinks to this ragtag group of monsters. We find all the little gremlins joining a midnight showing of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Billy, Gizmo, and Kate devise a plan to burn the building down and kill all the gremlins. It almost works, but Stripe slipped away to go and gorge on candy next door. Gizmo finally gets involved and helps Billy take out the final gremlin right as he was just about to spawn more little monsters. Sunlight comes up and bam, Stripes is dead. The end of the scene shows Billy's dad though arriving back in town and seeing the chaos for himself. After the chaos has ended, we end the film with Mr. Wing showing back up at the Peltzer home to reclaim his Mogwai. He tells Mr. Peltzer that this is all his fault and he did not honor the rules that one must follow with a pet like this. In a sad moment though, Gizmo must say goodbye to Billy as Mr. Wing, apparently who does not own a car, makes his way back to Chinatown. Gremlins is a movie I just really saw for the first time in the last couple of years. I don't think I really appreciated the movie until I sat down to watch it for this episode. I always thought Billy was some sort of weird little man-child as he was always hanging out with Corey Feldman's character. The dad, Randall, was such a putz, and it's surprising that they still owned a home with all of his shitty inventions not ever selling anything. Plus, what the hell is this guy doing going out of town for a convention on Christmas Eve? Even in 1984, I think people would be questioning that type of judgment. But with that being said, this time around, I seem to get the characters and what makes them so likable. Now comes the age-old question. Is Gremlins a Christmas movie? My short answer is yes, it definitely is. The movie takes place during Christmas, end of story. You could argue that it's an anti-Christmas film as Gremlins, well, They're monsters, but you know, at the same time, they're wreaking havoc during Christmas. So that's my take. I do just want to take a moment to shout out Dick Miller. This dude's one hell of a character actor, as he shows up in all kinds of movies over the years. I've always been a fan of his, and always will be. So all in all, I like Gremlins. It's a fun holiday film that I will always now have in my rotation. What do you think of Gremlins? Let me know in the comment section. And until next time, I'll see you at the video store.